Metro Mac donated $200. Men, delete your of accounts. Let's send the simp demic. We control the power to return the world to a functioning order. This needs to be pushed more.
Can I say something to that?
Sure.
You donated $200 just to say that, and like you could get so much for $200 on OF, or you could just not spend the $200. So I'm just saying.
She's like, subscribe.
I'm just saying 200 is a lot just to say that.
I mean, he had a he had a windfall recently with Doge and Pepe and Shiba Inu. Andrew, it seems like you might have a response here. Thank you, Metro Matt, by the way.
Yeah, why would he want to go and subscribe to nasty prostitutes on OnlyFans? Like, why would he want to do that?
Rogue.
That's super gross.
Or he could just not. I mean, I wasn't saying. Actually, I did say that, I guess, but I wasn't saying like it's this or this. But like $200 to say something is crazy.
Yeah, $200 to support the type of content that you like to support, where people can have conversations from all over the world. It's very interesting. They enjoy that. But then to kind of immediately assault the value structure by saying, oh, no, you should go watch prostitution, that just seems kind of counterintuitive, right?
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
That's it? That's all you guys got?
That's all I got. If you want to, if that's how, yeah. You can spend your money however you want, whether it be OnlyFans or...
Well, it seems like a lot of people spend a lot of money on OnlyFans. Like, porn and all that is $1 billion industry. So, I mean, it seems like a lot of people like it. If there wasn't a demand for it, it wouldn't be around.
Yeah, millions and millions. It's true.
Who here does OF?
I'm not sure that it's a great statement, though, to say that, well, because lots and lots of people do bad things, and that means that we should continue to perpetuate bad things.
What would you constitute as something that's bad, though?
Well, here, let's just see if we can't break it down. So we'll start with me, right? So I smoke cigarettes. Mm-hmm. I'd say that that's probably bad. For instance, if my kid came to me and said, hey, Dad, can I have a smoke? I'd be like, no, you can't have a smoke, okay? Smoking's bad. I probably shouldn't smoke, right? I'm trying to quit, that kind of thing. So let me just ask you, if your, 18-year-old daughter came to you and said, hey, Mom, I was thinking about being a prostitute on the internet, would you be like, oh, okay, sounds good?
I'd be like, it paid my way through college.
So yes.
Well, I do think that smoking has like an actual physical harm on your body. I do it too, so like whatever. But like that has an actual. I mean, I'm not saying that sex work can't have a physical harm on your body, because it can. But I wouldn't tell any of my children to do any of that stuff. Just saying, I'd let them just do what they want. If they came to me at 18 and said, "Hey, Mom, I want to join OnlyFans," I would say, you know what, here's a list of reasons why, it might not be the best idea. Here's a list of reasons why I found it, like why I liked it and did it for this long. And I let them make their own decision because they're 18.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I know that they can make their own decision. Nobody's saying that they can't do that. Adults can make their own decisions. The question is, you as the advisor, right? So me as the advisor in the advisor role, I can point to behavior I have that's probably not pristine and say, I would advise you not to do that. It's probably not the best idea. Can't stop you from doing it, but I would advise you against it. Would you advise your daughter? Would you advise your daughter against it?
I wouldn't advise her against or to do it. I would just say, here's my experience. Take what you will. Like, I've had good and bad experiences. If this is what you would like your experience to be, then like you're 18, you're of age, make your own decisions. I'll just tell her what my experience is.
I feel like OnlyFans is OnlyFans.
Yeah, but she's looking for advice.
Scoot into the table.
She's like, Mom, I'm conflicted. What should I do?
I feel like if you're conflicted, you shouldn't do it.
I'd say write about it, go to therapy, talk to somebody about it. They're talking to me.
You're
yeah,
a mom.
She's talking to me, and I'd say, hey, I told you what I'd say to her.
I would say
you're just gonna give her a neutral take.
I would say if you're conflicted, don't do it.
She's an adult.
Because it is not something that anybody should just jump into lightly.
I agree.
But however, it's not something that's causing physical harm.
Metro Mac donated $200. Share 2, you literally sell yourself for a McDonald's
sometimes
cheeseburger.
Less. So
sit down.
Tune in.
All right. Thank you, Metro Matt.
Why is the standard here this idea of only physical harm, right? Nobody's saying that this causes direct physical harm, though I'd argue it can. But rather, there's no society that's made better anywhere on planet Earth with the usage of rampant prostitution. There's not a single society you can point to that's made better because of that. And there's never going to be one that you can point to that's made better because of that.
I mean,
And so if we collectively are making decisions as a society for what we want to see in it, I think that it's pretty obvious that because of the overwhelming amount of trafficking, human trafficking that comes with sex work, which is, it's overwhelming, the evidence on behalf of that. And this is only in countries which legalize it. It's pretty obvious that it's something that collectively people should be pushing back against, right?
I would argue that decriminalizing things helps with that. Like, just for an example, the weed industry, nobody buys weed from drug dealers anymore. They go to the store, it's regulated, it's safer, and then just buying it off the street.
But the places that have criminalized prostitution have less human trafficking than the places that have legalized prostitution.
But do
You know
they
why
have
that is?
statistics on rape and if rape has increased?
Oh my God, bro! You guys do not listen
Sorry.
to the fucking pre-show information. Holy shit!
Yeah, don't just use SA, please. It just stands for sexual assault. Just use SA instead. It's because we're on YouTube. We want to comply with the terms of service. So.
Oh yeah, that's all I had to say.
All right, I'm just moving onwards then. Katerina, you're below the threshold, but you got to DM out whatever.
Whatever fan donated $200. Our F-buddy is a great lay but not husband material, and guys are totally cool with that. But women get mad when we say 304s are not wife material and don't deserve long-term commitment.
What's 304s?
Hose.
Oh,
I don't get mad when people say that. If that's what
Who's
you
this?
think,
Who's
then
this
that's
directed
cool.
to?
to me.
To you?
Yeah.
Do you have a response? Or?
I don't know. I'm reading.
I'm trying to process
I think y'all can talk.
I think the person who has the best answer for this would be Madison, because she's been in the longest relationship at this table, and she does OnlyFans. What, do you feel like this has changed your relationship at all with your
It has
husband?
made it better. It's enhanced it. We were exploring new things, and it's been a shit ton of fun. And I challenge Andrew on the fact that sex work is inherently bad. I agree, it certainly can be bad. Human trafficking is horrible, and certain people maybe are very desperate and do it for the wrong reasons and do put themselves in harm's way, but that doesn't mean that's how everybody's going about doing it, and that is an all-encompassing truth for all sex work.
Let me show you how divisive this is. I'll explain. So when you say things like, when you're talking about harm, people tend to only look at harm from their own personal metric of what they think would or wouldn't be harmful. They never really externalize how things that they do affect other people. So for instance, I find it harmful that you call yourself married. That's not a marriage. That's an abomination. From my perspective, total abomination is not a marriage. It's a joke, right? But think about this. You might not, like, from your perspective, you think, that's really harsh, or that's mean, or that's this, or that's that. But isn't it harmful to the value structure of the millions of men who think like me that you would cheapen and destroy the thing that we sanctify that much by calling it marriage? Like, and you just don't care, right? Because from your perspective, well, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. It's similar to when you OF girls will wear crosses inside of your porn shoots. And it's like, okay, well, let's just take the very symbol of this entire religion and pervert it to the maximum extent, right? And we're supposed to just be like, oh, well, that's okay. We're just pushovers and doormats, right? It's like, so anytime you're talking about harm, you seem to only internalize it. You never extend it out to how it actually does affect other people.
Well, I'm not a Bible thumper, so I don't believe in things being all holy and sacred.
Yeah, I know. See what I mean? You're internalizing
it's a
harm.
completely-
You only look at it from the prism of self.
Kate, now you're interrupting me. I was in the middle of my argument.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
just explaining real quick, though, that's going to my point. That's all. But go ahead.
Marriage can mean a lot of different things to different people, and we stood in front of our family and friends and committed our lives to each other, and we get to pick the terms on how that turns out. And if we're both consenting adults and are completely happy with it, more power to us. I don't need God or whoever you believe in to agree with that, because to me that means nothing.
Yeah, but you
And I
see how-
don't
you
wear a
see-
cross in my
but you see how
OnlyFans
this
stuff.
makes my point for me. That when you think about things like harm or the principle of what you're doing in society, you think of it from the position of yourself, only from the position of you. Well, I'm not hurting anybody, I'm not doing anything wrong. We're two consenting adults, should be able to do whatever we want. It's like, okay, well, what about the greater duties that happen inside of society, or forming societies towards things that we want to see for future generations, which we do have a duty for. We do have a duty to do this. So the idea here is like, sure, you can say whatever you want. You can say this is a legitimate marriage. This is a thing which is true and proper, and it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It's like, that's fine, but let's not pretend that it's not a complete and total assault on the values of millions of people who consider it to be an abomination, and that's just dismissed because you just don't agree with those values. And it's like, okay, well, that's not really you taking into account a harm principle. That's just you taking into account the me principle. It's all about me and what I want.
Well, I think maybe actually we're doing the world a service by showing them that there are alternative lifestyles available, and maybe that'll make you even happier than the one that society set you up to believe that you had to have.
Yeah.
And I would argue that Christianity can be very harmful.
Any horrible person on planet Earth can make the same argument. You know, like a drug addict can be like, hey, you know what? All I'm doing is showing future generations and the people around me that, hey, being a drug addict is just an alternative lifestyle, man. And it could even be a better lifestyle than the one you're currently in, bro. Literally anybody could make that argument for any value structure that they want. And so what we do is we take a holistic approach. We look at society as a whole. We go, is this really good for it, or is it really bad for it? And any category you put OnlyFans or pornography into, it's basically always bad for it. Very few yields of good. Most people who come out of it are damaged, right? The mental illness rates are over the top. The amount of STDs are over the top. It promotes a lifestyle which is completely solipsistic or self-absorbed, where you become the center of the universe. There's no greater duties to society or to family. It's not a good lifestyle to promote. Never has been. So you think, well, this is an attack on my values or what I believe. It is. But to be fair, right, the very fact that people engage in it is an assault on the values of millions who think like me. So it's like, why is the harm only just one-sided? That's what I've never understood. It's like, it's very
I agree
clear
the
that
harm is dual-sided.
not just one-sided.
And I think that a lot of your values are harmful to society, and that's the beauty of America. We all get to have our opinion, our freedom to follow whatever religion we want to, or no religion at all, and you get to have your values, and I can have mine. And I would also argue that sex workers are very safe because the amount of testing and prevention and conversations that take place over the average hookup in the regular dating world makes it a lot safer.
Can I also
Well,
make a point that
respond to both those. Hang on. Before you get in, let me respond to both the arguments, then you can jump in. The first one is like, okay, if that's what you value in America, that you can kind of do as thou wilt because right now you're allowed to, then you better value the rest of what America is, which is the value of the vote. And the fact that millions more people begin thinking like me as they get absorbed with degeneracy all around them than like you. And what we do is we vote out things like abortion, and we vote out things like women's rights, and we vote out the things that you find really precious because you insist on promoting the most degenerate shit possible. So if that is the case, then you can't cry over spilt milk when the pendulum swings back and people snatch that away from you. You don't have anybody to blame except American values at that point. And then over to the second call argument here is like, yeah, you can say that the values and structures that I have you don't like, or you think that they're harmful because, after all, you're basically just giving a graduated sexual education course to anybody who wants to jump in on it. But I can point to a society where abstinence was the order of the day not very long ago, and almost every woman got married when they were a virgin, and there was no STD rates, and divorce was very, very, very low. So thank you for improving that society. Thank you for improving it. Look around. Isn't it way better? It's way better, isn't it? Said nobody anywhere ever.
Better for us. I mean, back then you had wives that were on Quaaludes,
Well, no, your statistics,
and they were
like the statistics you're saying, like you're not actually, like first of all, this is a different one, but like sex work, there's girls who give $5 sex on the street. Okay, yeah, I bet that the STD rate is higher with that. There's girls who do tit pics on OnlyFans. There's no correlation. Sex work is so broad, and so you saying like the I don't know, like
Grouping
the
it all
STD
together.
rate is higher with girls who do OnlyFans. We all get tested. We all porn. We all get tested. We don't shoot with anyone who
Would
doesn't
you
get
like
tested.
for me to read off the stats of how much higher it is with people who engage in any type of sexuality on camera, be it OnlyFans, with BG or non-BG content, or with just regular prostitution, or with just regular porn? It is significantly higher than the society.
Then it was like, then how long ago? Then it was how long ago before there was all this database to put into statistics?
What do you mean? Well, we've been keeping track of things like STDs for a long, long time.
Of course.
We know
I'm not-
what these.
I'm not
we know
saying
what
that we
these rates-
haven't.
Wait, hang on. We know what these rates were pre-legalization of what we would consider degeneracy, or when they began to rule that porn was protected under the First Amendment. So this very idea that you have that we just don't know is absurd. We do know. We do know. We know exactly how low they were, and they were a lot lower. There's no doubt about it.
Well, can't you just say that that would just be the general promiscuity of society? Because I doubt that when somebody goes to a testing clinic and they say, "Oh, you have this," they're like, "Oh, I'm an OnlyFans creator." Like, they don't ask you that.
Yeah, no. Actually, they do ask you that. There's,
Well, there's
especially if you go into
certain-
free.
yeah.
Especially.
I mean,
if you go
there's
into
certain, but there's
hang on,
not-
Hang on. I'm going to tell you, they do indeed ask you that. Yes.
You're
and
like
by the way,
boxing her off. Can you give her space?
all
Go
you
ahead.
need to do is take X amount of a sampling from an industry and test it to get a really good idea of how prevalent it is in that industry in comparison to the general population.
Hey, but the
You don't
general
need-
population
hang on,
doesn't
hang on,
get
hang on.
tested
Hold on.
nearly as
Hold on,
much
hold
as
on, hold on.
OnlyFans and sex
No,
and
Hold
porn
on,
people.
stop.
Hang on.
Everybody stop. Hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you respond. I promise.
Well, the
I'll
general
never not- I'll never not let
public
you
doesn't
respond.
get
Just-
tested nearly as
okay.
much as we
You're still
do,
not
so the
going.
numbers are going to be different.
So I'll tell you what. Why don't you go ahead and make your argument, and then when
I
you're
just
done,
did.
give me like the high sign or
I
the signal,
just
and then
did.
I'll make the argument.
I just did.
Okay, we'll do it again so I can hear it this time. Go ahead.
This isn't really about the OnlyFans. This is just kind of something that.
Wait, hang on. Can before you jump in, can I just finish with her? I'm almost done. We're almost done, I think.
Of course.
Can you just repeat what you just said so that I understand what you just said?
The general population doesn't get tested nearly as much as people in the industry do. Before I got into the industry, I didn't get tested at all, and same with all my friends who aren't in it. And that is just a fact. But so yeah, I mean, numbers might show higher because we're the ones getting tested.
Yeah, that would be called a sampling bias. And so inside of a study, you take a sampling bias and you do what's called a compensation for a sampling bias. That's literally it's called a control. That's how you do a controlled study. So if you have a sampling bias where one particular demographic of a population is tested more heavily than another, you would create an offset for the purpose of that study. That's literally how that's done. So what you're talking about there is easily accounted for.
Okay.
I actually have some thoughts on the whole STD thing. So I think it was your position. You said that the STD rates are lower among sex workers. What's your position?
I didn't state that there were any, I wasn't quoting any statistics. I just said that I feel that it can be safer because people are more conscientious about testing and using protection and having those conversations that many people would think is uncomfortable in the heat of the moment. You got to talk about all that stuff before you start filming.
Yeah, so a couple things, and then I'll know what your position is. Your position that the STD rate is lower among...
No, I literally actually don't know the rates. I'm just saying that I don't know. I know that before I got in the industry versus now, I get tested.
Well, so
and I
here's
didn't used
kind
to.
of the, I guess, the line of the
Just
conversation.
as of 2011, just to tell you, the studies found that gonorrhea rates alone were 64 times higher than the general population and 18 times higher than Los Angeles County, which is considered one of the most promiscuous in the world, for residents 18 to 29. So 18 times higher than the most promiscuous county they could find, and 64 times higher than the general population. So yeah, I would say they're higher. They're a lot higher.
Yeah, but that statistic is 2011. That was 14 years ago.
Yeah. But do you want to see what it's like in modern times? Even it's not any better.
Yes,
I mean,
wanna
I
see.
would like to know, just education
Do you
for
have
myself.
a study from 2023?
I have no problem saying I'm wrong.
Well, it's not going to be from 2023 likely, but probably 2021, 2022. You wouldn't see a huge
Why
fluctuation in a
2023
couple of years.
specifically?